Hey guys, it's Mikey from CA. Today we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the MCK Gen 3, and we are finally very excited that all the parts that you're going to see here are all from the molds. None of these pieces are 3D'd. We're almost there, hopefully like 2-3 weeks away, and we just want to clear up some of the misconceptions that are out there on the Gen 3. So let's break this down. Number one, you're going to see here two MCKs, here and here. They're in the two different positions that you're going to find them in. When we're using a red dot, and when we're not using a red dot on the slide. So let's first talk about this one. What you're gonna see here is that the stock itself is much lower. So I'm able to aim through the sight. You're gonna see that I'm able to put a suppressor on here, and the suppressor in the Gen 3 is a little bit bigger than the option that we had on the Gen 2. So we're going from 138, which was our maximum size on the Gen 2s, to 1.56. So any suppressor up to 1.56 you can put on the Gen 3. So now when I have this system and all the guns on the table, we have 4 different Glocks, all have been cleared, no ammo here. We'll do a clear check. Let's check anyway. So in a system like this, in my height here, with where my eye is, I'm able to slip through the sight and use the red dot that is actually on the slide itself. And here I can put on the suppressor as well. So this is kind of cool. There's going to be a lot of guys using the red dot sights. It has a unique charging handle that we're going to talk about a little bit. Now let's go a little bit into depth onto the adapter and how this works. This is the adapter that's going to be inside the MCK. So when you open this up, you're going to see brushes that are here that clean the slide. You can see them here as well. It slides out. They go into the adapter, and this is what your slide is brushing against while it's cycling. So this will clean up any carbon buildup, but also will keep the slide safe and won't scratch the slide. So this new adapter is a big deal for us. Here you see the different types of rails that are going to be on top of the MCK when you are not using a red dot. We'll talk about that in the second version. So here we see the suppressor, the optic, the stock being lower. Now let's transfer to the second position, the one when I'm using a handgun that does not have an RMR, that does not have an optic on the slide, which a lot of people are going to be out there doing that as well. So first, even though they're clear, we're going to check them again. Now here we can see that the stabilizer is much higher. So now when I'm aiming, I'm at the sight of my iron sights or an optic that I can put on these rails as well. And let me show you how things work on the bottom here. Here we have a button. So when I press this button, and I can fold to the right and lock the stabilizer. I have to lift it up and bring it back. You're going to see an L and an R on there. That this is where you decide which this pin here, the silver pin that you guys see here, this can be moved to here or here. We're going to show it to you in this area. So you have like 2 like that. And I choose where I want to put the pin. So if I put the pin on the right, then the stock stabilizer will fold to the right. And if I put the pin on the left, the stabilizer will fold to the left. That's what's kind of cool about the Gen 3. It is ambidextrous sliding stabilizer, so you can put it on either side. Now there are some misconceptions out there regarding the charging handles, and people don't understand. No, you guys are taking a step back. If I have to put a back plate on the charging handle, I'm gonna have to dedicate my handgun. It takes away the speed, and I think people don't understand. When I have an RMR, when I have an optic on the slide, there is no other option. These handguns are also cleared. If I have an optic on the slide, I can't put our regular charging handle on top of the slide because there's a sight there. So we had to go to the backplate option. So this is, by the way, it's made out of casting steel, very, very strong, and this is the charging handle that you will receive. But that's not the only charging handle you will receive. You will also receive our regular charging handle. So both of them will be inside of the box. And in this situation, you can see here, we're using a polymer, the same exact charging handle we've always given to you guys in Gen 1s and Gen 2s. You don't need to remove the back plate, and this is when you're using it without an optic on the top. So every time you use the MCK without an optic, you're going to be using this plate, this regular charging handle. If you want one with an optic, you have no other choice but to remove the back plate and use this. If you want to use this one when you're not using an optic, you can do that as well, but you don't have to. We love options in CA. So both charging handles are going to be there. Okay, so you're going to get both of these inside the box. So you're going to, now I reminded you guys, the lock itself will be not attached to the MCK when it comes into the box because we don't know if you're lefty or righty, and you will decide where to put the pin. You put the pin on the right if you are righty and you want it to fold to the right, and you're going to put it on the left. If you're lefty and you want it to fold to the left, it'll be your call, your choice. That's why in the box it won't be assembled to the MCK. You'll do that when you get it. Now you're going to receive all these different types of rails when you get the MCK. The top, the rear, and the front, you're going to receive on the MCK. That's how it's going to be coming. You're also going to see another rail inside of the box. This rail is when you're using a suppressor on your weapon. We need to remove this top. So when we pull out the adapter, I have to remove this top slide. I'll show you, it slides right out. Obviously, it's going to have screws on it. So when you remove this, and you still want to put a suppressor that we need the room here, we made a very small Picatinny rail that goes into the rear of the slide here. And now the suppressor can come up, it has the room, and I can still put a front sight here. So if I want to use iron sights, I can still do that when I'm using a suppressor. So when I'm using an optic, you're going to see it like this. Okay, you're going to see it like that when I'm doing it with an optic. So there's no slide here. But if I want to use iron sights, I put the plates back on here, so I can have my plate here, and I can have my plate here, right? And then I can use my sights, but because this is so big, we use a smaller one here when using a suppressor, and it's gonna look like that. So that's how the final lock is gonna look like, okay? So that's kind of cool. Another thing on the bottom of the stabilizers that we can show you, in all these places, you're gonna see there's gonna be an external brush. This brush is built so after I finish shooting and I want to clean the top of the slide, I can rub it against there. And you're also going to see this little adapter that we put here that you use the charging handle after you take it apart. We don't want you guys to lose the handle. So we put a little adapter here that you can screw it in there and it stays onto the stabilizer whenever you need it. So again, we're showing the stabilizer going back and forth. We're also going to have an option of an NFA stock. And we're also going to have an option of a short stabilizer. So you can have the short stabilizer option, the NFA stock, and the Gen 3 stabilizer. Those are the three options you can have. When you buy them, when you purchase them on the website, you can be able to pick between each one of those three. I hope everything was clear. Hope you guys love it. Any questions, write it to us and we'll try to answer it in our next video. Thank you very much.